Hi, everyone. Welcome to, I think this is episode 50. Wait, you can't. I forgot there's that giant banner right there. That was supposed to be a dramatic turn to be like, this is fucking episode 50. But it is. I just realized that as I hit the record button. Well, here we are. You made it. Even bigger news in my life is 14, 15, 16, at some point on the 17th, 3.5 days until my special, my 100% free, that should be on there somehow with there free, that's going to be added, special premieres on YouTube. There's the address right down there, youtube.com/NICKYOUSSEF. Go there, subscribe, watch it, share it, watch it again, watch it on mute. I don't give a shit. Make the view counts happen. More importantly, though, subscribe and share it. If I post about it, spread the word. This shit's free for you. It only costs me everything I have. I'm gonna sell my kidney. Oh man, this is part of it. I was talking to somebody the other day about how this is harder than ever and more time consuming than ever, but it's still better than ever. The opportunities and all the things that you can do. There was no way I'm making this thing before people started just releasing high quality specials on YouTube and all this. And that was because all the streaming platforms, and that broke away from being able to do late night spots and then waiting for Comedy Central to give you a 1 hour special that no one would watch because they'd air it once and then once more at midnight on a Friday, on fucking New Year's Eve or some shit when no one's watching anything. So here we go. That is good news. And I keep having to remind myself of that because this is really stressful and I want to die every 6 hours. So let's hope that it comes out and I only want to die every 16 hours, and we'll see what happens after that. Anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening and supporting and subscribing to things and watching and sharing and, all that stuff. I'm going to be adding a bunch of road dates. I'm going to wait till I get like a big handful and then just maybe I'll make a tour poster again. That was fun last year. Took them on the road and sold them. And it's also cool to work with a bunch of awesome, talented artists. Like the people responsible for the cover art for I couldn't even think of what to call it. I'm like, it's not a special poster. It's not a banner. It's the special cover art for YouTube. And if I guess I decided to do like a vinyl run or whatever. Meredith Truax did the photography. Ashley Paulak, I hope I'm saying it right. I've only ever seen it written. We've corresponded over email. She did the design and everything. Not the world premiere part. I had to add that, but just the actual the cover art, the design, and the look of it. I worked with them. They're both super talented artists in their own right. They work in the music world a lot and design a lot of awesome album covers. So I thank them very much for helping bring that to something I couldn't have done on my own. But it's cool to like work with a bunch of artists on stuff. That's another thing you can't do when you're like, you do a special with someone else. You just like, they're doing it. You don't have any input. Anyhow, where was I this last weekend? I was in, so occasionally Nick Swartzen, Swarty B, will, I think I only call him that. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone else call him that, but he'll bring me on the road with him when he plays theaters and stuff, and he'll have me open for him, which never gets old. Having someone bring you on the road when they're playing these huge, beautiful, a lot of times just like 80, 100-year-old amazing theaters is amazing. He's a good friend of mine, but I still like look at him in like awe in a lot of ways, because it's like I watched him on TV before I even started stand up, and he was like one of my like favorite guys, and he started young and broke early, so he was always just kind of there as like this, you know. And then we became friends over the years and stuff, and it's just he's been performing at a high level like that, theaters and things like that, for over a decade. I mean, he's, you know, so it's just cool to like, you kind of forget that when you become friends with someone, or you just see them at the clubs around town. So I always feel very fortunate to be able to like do those gigs, and, you know, like the people you always went to see in those theaters, like when it came to like bands and stuff, you'd go to these theaters and you'd just be like, wow, these are like awesome, beautiful venues. And you'd sit there and watch. And it, in a lot of ways, you don't like think, oh, I'll ever be on that stage, you know, doing a show of any kind, whether it's my own or opening for someone. It's like, it just seems the distance between you and, you know, well, wherever, row 2 or row 32, and then being on that stage is just like, it was always from like an audience perspective. Because for a long time, comics were, there weren't a lot of touring theater acts, you know, before, especially before social media. It was a small handful. And now, you know, a ton of comics are doing theaters, and some are even doing arenas, which is wild. And it's awesome. And I don't know, every time I love doing those gigs, because, you know, we're good friends and it's fun to hang out. And like, I'm not doing theater gigs on my own, so it feels like rock star like in those ways, because I've seen so many rock shows and theaters, and you're always like, what's it like back there, and the, you know, like coming out on stage, and because the stages are enormous, and like, you know, the curtains, and like looking out on the balconies, and it just feels great every time. And he's a sweetheart of a guy for being like bringing his friends. A lot of comics don't do that kind of stuff, and it really is awesome. So this last weekend we went to Durham, North Carolina, and then had a day off, and then went to Atlanta, and both those shows were just so awesome. And I was in a really bad headspace and stuff, so it helped bring me out of it. And one thing I've learned over the last 4 or 5 years is not to go drink out of that well when I need to feel better, because that's just not a way to live. You know, just needing the fix of the next show, and the, you know, or the next like little accomplishment and stuff. And but it certainly helps, you know. It never doesn't feel good to like fly out to these gigs, and you're staying in a nice place, and you're performing for like 1,800 people or whatever these theaters hold sometimes. It feels great. You need those reminders sometimes. Like, it's not, you can't rely on them, but it is nice when you have a great set, or you perform at like a great venue, and you feel like, oh yeah, okay, there's like, yeah, I still like this, or I still should do this. And that's what it was like there. You know, I'd never been to Durham, and I've been to Raleigh, however you say it. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. And if I said it right, fucking told you so. You feel good going to cities like that, and just like getting out of your element. And like, I tried some barbecue, wasn't really a big fan. I don't remember the name of the place, but it was somewhere in Durham. It was like 7 or 8 minutes out of downtown. I'm a Texas barbecue guy. I'm not a fan of vinegar in the tomato sauce, and then that being on the barbecue, or vinegar in anything edible ever. It sucks. It's right up there with mayonnaise as something that should be illegal. It's doesn't ever make food better, ever. Vinaigrettes, nope. I'd rather just, honestly, when I eat salads, 4 or 5 ingredients at the most, and just a little bit of olive oil, dude, and let's move it. Let's move on. Let's eat the food and move on. Vinaigrettes and fucking thick glops of blue cheese, and all dressings like that are like, it just takes away from the healthy salad experience. A little bit of olive oil, sea salt, dude, a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. We're good. We are good. Vinegar just fucking ruins everything. And oh, what about ketchup, Nick? Ketchup sucks. Ketchup also ruins stuff. The Carolina barbecue experience it can be good. There was a place in Raleigh I went to a few years back that I remember standing out. Like, oh, okay, this Carolina barbecue can be great. And I wish I would have gone there. It was too far of a drive. Durham and Raleigh are like so close to each other that even the airport's called the Raleigh-Durham Airport. But, you know, I didn't have a rental or anything, so I wasn't about to like make the trek. But if there was a place I missed in Durham that has good barbecue, let me know, because I'll go back and I'll try that one. The show was great. It was a cool, the Carolina Theater is what it was called. And it was awesome because it's run by a non-profit now, and it's, I think, 100 years old. And, you know, anytime a building is 100 years old, you think like, whoa, and you look at it, but then you're like, oh, there were a lot of bad shit probably happened here. And this theater has all that stuff as exhibits on the wall, which was really cool because you could see and experience the history instead of just looking at, like, you know, the ceilings and how ornate the architecture was, and you're like, wow, they don't do this anymore. It's also important to look at the wall and be like, whoa, they had segregated entrances and things like that. Thank God they don't do this anymore. And both those things can exist at the same time. Something can look beautiful and amazing and also have like a really ugly history that fortunately we have moved out of. But it's important to be able to like see that stuff. And yes, I know you're going in there to watch music or comedy or whatever, but no one's forcing you to look at the exhibits on the wall. But there are, you know, you can walk left or right out of the concession stands, and then there it is. You can sit and read about the history. And for me, I don't like think that takes away from a live entertainment experience. It's not like, well, I don't want to, you know, be serious and sad and blah blah blah. I don't feel that way. I think it's great to learn about places, what, you know, the good and the bad, all of it together. It, especially as like a performer at the place, it made me feel like a part of history as a whole. You know, you see like all the signatures in the back, and like, and you see like they had like the old door, the old ticket window that used to be out front that was only, it was called like the colored ticket window or something. And you're just like, that wasn't even that long ago. Like, that history is like right there. It's fucked up. It makes you grateful. Like, you've come a long way, and there's still a lot of wrong that needs to be made right. But it's cool to be a part of like living history like that, whether you're like performing at a place or even as an audience member, because now you're like, yeah, look, we're all in one line together being treated equally. No one has to enter through the side or not be able to sit in a certain part. I remember one part of the exhibit showed that black people had to go through a different door, which was common in the segregated South. There was like the colored entrance and the colored, you know, water fountain. It always said colored this. And then it was like, seeing that, you're like, God. But then they had like balcony seating, like you're only allowed to sit in the balcony. And now you're like, that's where you'd want to sit. You know, you get like in the front of the balcony, you get a view of everything. It's funny how things just like flip in a way. You look at it now and you're like, that would have been a great place to sit. But knowing you couldn't sit anywhere else can make what otherwise would be like a great viewing experience feel awful, because you're like, they're fucking forcing me to sit here. But yeah, one of the old door people who's been there since like the 60s or 70s was like showing me. He's like, oh, he's like, this is the year I started. And I was just like, you know, and it was after they had desegregated the theater and, you know, probably all of North Carolina at that point. But he was like, yeah, that's the year I started. I was like, whoa, man, you have been here through a lot of it. And they had like redone a lot of the theater and kept a lot of the old and, kind of mixed it in with the new in a very like careful and thoughtful way. That's what's cool about when a nonprofit will take over a place like that. They are more than willing. They're not like a profit driven business. So they're not going to be like, oh no, that will turn off some audience if we, put the history of the place right up in everyone's face. That was the whole point, I think. This nonprofit wants to showcase the history of Durham and North Carolina and America while you are there to experience something else. I think it just makes it more important to experience something as a whole. A lot of the issues people have such a narrow view of something, and they will leave no room to see the other side or it as a whole, and it makes them like dig their heels even further into whatever their belief is, whether it's like far right or far left, when in reality there's a lot of gray area that a lot of times will allow you to be more empathetic as a whole. Going to a place like that and experiencing something in the modern day while understanding like there was a lot of bad and we've overcome a lot and there's still a lot we can do. Like knowing that you're still in that timeline is important. I would think you'd be able to have more empathy for what we are all currently going through now. Like we're not done, and it doesn't help to basically like ideologically segregate yourself from what other people are thinking. Whether or not you agree, somewhat agree, totally strongly disagree, it's like we are supposed to be in it together, and like, that's supposed to kind of make the world a better place. But I certainly felt better leaving that theater knowing that there was a lot of ugliness there and we're well past a good deal of it. And it was also a reminder that there's still a lot left to deal with. And it's important to think about that. So to think about those people that you disagree with, that's happening. And to just like put the blinders on and be like, they don't matter because they disagree with me and they're racist and they're this and they're that. I don't think it helps. Having all of it there and having the conversations about it, I think, are what will actually help. And I don't know, it made me feel like a sense of like belonging, to a place I don't even live in, just because I got to like read and see all that history and talk to someone who's been there for 40 years. It was pretty wild. And a lot of times you don't see the front of the theater when you're like playing a venue like that. You come in through the back and you hang out in the green room and you can walk around like the back parts of the theater and stuff. And then you really only see the place when you walk on stage, and then the lights are off, and then you perform and go into the green room area or the backstage again, and you're just kind of hanging out there. Sometimes when the show's over, if you're still there, you come out on stage when the lights are on and see it. But sometimes you're gone. You leave because you're like, hey, we got to get to this restaurant before it closes, because you're not in LA or New York or Chicago where shit's open 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 a.m. and you're fucking hungry. So I'm trying to make more of a point to like go out front during the show or even right after and see what makes the place awesome. A lot of times the backstage is redone, or there's not a lot going on because it's backstage. So I really want to make more of an effort to like see the history of all these like really old theaters. And a couple nights later we went to Atlanta and we played the Buckhead Theater, which is in Buckhead. It's like, I guess, the suburb of Atlanta, or like it's still considered Atlanta. I don't know. It was like 15 minutes outside of like downtown, but really nice part of town. And at a fucking massive mall, the Lenox Square or Lenox Mall or something like that. which someone was telling me like is a really violent area because so many robberies happen in the parking lots because there's so many high-end stores. So there's been like you know, uh, a string, a string of robberies. Maybe it's just like a short period of time or whatever. And I was just like, oh fuck, I would have never known that. It's like so nice around here. But it was a good part of town, and there was a place called the Southern City Kitchen that did that's I guess known for their fried chicken and whatever. So I wanted to just get like a quick lunch while I was up there because I didn't want to eat like mall food. That was the only place to walk was into that mall, and I was like, well, but on the other side of it was this place that was known for, and it wasn't one of those like go get a bucket of chicken or whatever. It was like a piece of fried chicken and then a side. So it was like you're eating fried chicken and a side, and it was like kind of it felt healthy and light, and it was good. And then we played the Buckhead Theater, which was another like 100-year-old theater. And the back area, the dressing rooms and all that stuff were redone, so it felt a lot newer. But I honestly couldn't get to the front of it because the only way out there was through the, like, out in the alley and up street, and it was fucking pouring rain. Like, it just, rain came out of nowhere, and it was just like, boom. And there was no way through, really, the inside of the venue, and it's funny, a mere 36 hours after, I was like, I gotta make an effort to see all these theaters. I'm like, it's raining. So yeah, it was another awesome experience though. It was like a really cool theater with an awesome crowd. Atlanta crowds are really great, and I wish I got to spend a little bit more time there. I did like a day and a half because in between Durham and Atlanta, we had a day off, and there's no sense, flying back to New York and then back again. And I didn't want to fly directly there necessarily, and I just wanted to get the drive in. I thought would be nice, like go through a couple southern cities, and it was nice out. And so I just rented a car for a day and then drove from Durham to Atlanta, which is not bad. 6 hours, pretty easy. And I stopped in Greenville, where our good friend Rory Scoville's from. So I hit him up. I'm like, you're from here. Where do I eat? What do I do? And he recommended a place called Henry's Smokehouse, which was good. So there's, I guess, a couple locations. If you're driving through Greenville, I'd do it. Get the ribs. That was my favorite. I got that and the pulled pork, and one of the sides was peach cobbler, which is so funny that that's not just like a separate dessert. So I got that, and then I hit him up. I'm like, this place is good. He's like, you got the banana pudding, right? I'm like, fuck, I got the peach cobbler. And then I took one bite of the peach cobbler, and I was like, oh, good. I actually don't really like this that much. And then I ordered the banana pudding, which came in like a little cup, and holy shit, was it good. So if you go to Henry's, skip the peach cobbler, go banana pudding. Trust me. And I was looking forward to having a peach cobbler, but just didn't do it. And right across the street was Methodical Coffee. If you're a big coffee guy, you have probably tried Methodical. It's part of that drink trade coffee program thing that I'm doing, where they send a bag of coffee from one of like 200 roasters to your place. I've had it through them, and I think from somewhere in LA, there's like a multi-roaster place that sold Methodical, and I remember really liking it. So they're based out of Greenville, and I stopped there and ordered an espresso that was really good, and then I think it was like a Colombian pour over that tasted like a bucket of berries. It was so fucking good. So yeah, Methodical, awesome place. Speaking of which, I got my coffee club merch in. So if you're in first of all, join the fucking Patreon. Second, if you're in it, you're getting some shit sent to you, man. How about that? This is official coffee club merch here. That's a sticker. That design also comes on the shirt, and it's made to look like a shirt that's like, like an employee shirt. Um, has that on the front, and these are the bigger stickers that. Oop, oop. Oh shit! Sorry, being an idiot. Okay, there. And there's a line on it from a bit I used to do about coffee. I stopped for coffee on my way to get coffee. That's how addicted I am. It was a whole like 2-minute bit, but I like that line from it. I thought it'd be good for this. So, this was designed by again. I got to work with another cool artist on something. Death by Coffee 666. That's his Instagram. And hold on a second. Let me get rid of this banner real fast. There we go. So, and then here is the pin, which is the same colorway as the sticker. And there are a few colorways that were done of it, and the pin will be that one. And these are great pins. These are high quality pins with good backing. And sorry, hold on. Oh, good. You don't want to focus. There we go. You son of a bitch. All right. So yeah, that's the coffee club pin, and this you can get when you're a part of the Patreon. And I'm gonna do little mini coffee meetups, and not in person, but on through the Patreon. Maybe one day we'll do them in person. But it's just meant to be like a fun little Patreon perk, and yeah, so that is so the stickers and stuff, and then there's like shirts and different merch, all on the website. So nickyoussef.com, you can go figure all that out, or Patreon/ATNY. And all that stuff is in the links for the YouTube video, and in whatever, if you're listening to this, it's in those links too. So let's get this banner back up. So yeah, Methodical was good, and so is Henry's. So good job being from Greenville, Rory. You did it. Yeah, you made that a good stop. Thanks for being from there. So yeah, I'll be in LA after this for a little bit, couple weeks. I'm gonna do some shows. I got some shows at the Comedy Store and some other random ones. And then I'm gonna do some podcasts to promote the special, and then I will be in. These shows are sold out, so it doesn't matter. But in Minnesota with Nick Swartzen at a Black Bear Casino, I think is what it's called. Like way north, like, fucking Game of Thrones White Walkers north, like way up there. And then after that, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So I get to cross off another state on my list of states I've never performed in. And that, if we're being honest, was going to be one of the harder ones. And so Swartzen's got a big fan base everywhere, but especially in the Midwest and stuff. So we're doing 2 shows there, and those I think are sold out like right away probably. Maybe there's a few tickets left if they release stuff at the door or whatever, but if you live in Sioux Falls and you can get there, do it. They'll be fun. 2 shows at the Orpheum Theater, which is another one of those places where I've seen so many concerts at Orpheum Theaters. It's just going to be cool to perform in one. So yeah, this is going to be a busy month, which is good. Again, I'm not hinging my fucking life and my health on it, but my mental health, sorry. But yeah, it's hard right now. It's just hard right now. So I don't know. Sometimes you need these little mini victories, and we'll see. Let's hope this special does well. And, I'll have like, I don't know, there's going to be like an arc to it. It's going to like, hopefully build in views as it goes, because I'm releasing this on my own. This is not going on a platform that already has 2 million subscribers, so I'm gonna get a crazy bump early. This is as DIY as it gets, so it's just gonna be a lot of self-promotion, which I've never been a huge fan of, but I'm trying to do it in a way that's genuine and kind of thoughtful. And going on the podcast I want to go on, and the ones, I'm sure there's going to be some that aren't going to have me on, but the ones I want to be on, and just getting it out there or organically, and like at live shows, and like I'm going to do a bunch of road dates, and like just spread the word, get the special out there. This took a lot of time and took a lot of money, and it took a lot of energy, and I just hope it gets out there. Maybe it'll get some reviews and stuff, and and we'll see after it's out. That's a lot of that is out of your control, but what will be in my control is being able to keep delivering it places, whether it's verbally or just physically, like, hey, person or people or a whole crowd of, I have this special, it's free, watch it. All you have to do is click a button. There's no commitment. There's no download this app and get 3 months free of Paramount Plus and you can watch it. There's none of that, and that's great. So I don't know, that's nice. And I think that's it. It was good to just get down to the South for a couple days, do some shows, eat some kind of unhealthy food, and now we'll go out west where there's going to be no barbecue, but there will be burritos, motherfucker. A lot of good Mexican food coming right into my face in T-minus, so it's a day and a half, whatever. So yeah, if you live out in LA, you want to see me perform, I'll be around. I'll post stuff, Instagram, most likely, and check the websites, Comedy Store, Improv, and maybe the Laugh Factory. I don't know how they're having a new booker again, so maybe there. Who knows? We'll see. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for being here. See you next week. God, I literally forgot where I was going to be. I'm like, am I doing? Yeah, I am. I'm bringing my stuff. We'll be doing the podcast because I am a professional idiot. A professional idiot.
It's the end of the show. Like, subscribe, and comment. Don't be a dick.